You are on record.
Okay. Yeah, just 1 minute. Okay, right. Good morning. Good morning to bol do yaar.
Good morning.
Good morning. Suprabhat.
Good morning. Okay, thank you so much for joining on this sales webinar. And it's not really a planned one as such, in the sense that it's not something which I wanted to do because I want to sell some product. It was because generally that's how webinars happen. Then at the end, there is one sales pitch for a sales workshop, which is not the intention, which is not what I'm going to do also. It was just that we were having a little discussion in the LCC group, the Learning Champions Club that we have formed, about how to sell more, how to sell better. We were just having a bit of a discussion, and I thought, okay, let's give the benefit of, let me just share some of my thoughts around sales and my journey with sales and my experience, the traditional sales journey. So we will not be talking about digital marketing, how to get leads through ads and all that, because I am still learning that. I'm also figuring it out how to do that. So we will be talking more about the traditional approach in terms of how do you build relationships and sell. Which is what I've been doing all these years, especially since I became an entrepreneur in 2009. So I will not be, of course, there will be a little bit of so-called sermon from my side. But then mostly what we will do is we will try and answer some of those questions that have been put in the chat. And plus, if you have any other questions, I will try and answer that. Or we have this an adult learning group. So there is a lot of experience out here. Maybe some of you might want to just chip in, but keep your answers very crisp and short so that it does not look like you are taking the session and I am just answering some questions. Okay, I am the lead trainer, so make me feel like that. Yeah, thank you. So, okay, this is the risk of training trainers, because वो शुरू हो जाते हैं, बोलते अरे मुझे भी कुछ बोलना है. मैं भी ये टॉपिक के बारे में जानता हूँ, मेरा भी वैल्यू एडिशन होगा, तो जरूर करो, लेकिन छोटे पे करो. Okay, so this is where we are. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined. Okay, my sales journey is very interesting because when the first exposure I had to selling was with Max New York Life Insurance in 2004, when they hired me as a sales trainer. It's a big mystery to me why they hired me as a sales trainer, because I had a background in soft skills training and journalism. 6 journalism experience was far greater than my training experience. So they still hired me. So that's why I started believing in God, you know. So उसने हाथ रख दिया, बोला इसको ले ला है, तो ले लिया. So my guess is that probably they liked the way I communicated, and so they were hiring me as a trainer and not as a salesman. And Amitabh and me were having this conversation some time back, and I find that a very interesting perspective. Is to be a successful sales trainer, you may be up and down as a salesperson, but you have to be excellent as a trainer. Because finally you have to train people, right? So these are two different skill sets. You may not be a great salesman, but you can be a great sales trainer. You may be an excellent salesman, but you may not really make a great sales trainer. So there are two different skill sets. It's like the same thing. I may be the best batsman in the team or the best bowler, doesn't necessarily make me the best captain. Right? So it's that perspective. So I think from that perspective, so I got a great exposure in Max New York Life. And because I did not have sales experience, my super boss told me, you have to go and sell 5 policies. You know, so he actually made me sell 5 policies. And that was part of my induction. And so I went out and I sold 5 policies. And then I had a great journey with my agents. I connected very well with them. And I went on to become a zone training head. So I was only one of the 6 zone training heads in the company. And that was very, that's quite amazing. Grateful to God, because I did not come from a sales background. But I established myself as a sales trainer. So that gave me a great level of confidence when I became an entrepreneur. And yes, last 13 years, I'm a full-blown salesman. So if I have to promote HSSC, I have to sell my program, sell my community, I have to do so many other initiatives, I have to sell keys, I have to do this, I have to do that. Obviously, I have to be a salesman. So it's been a great learning experience for me personally. And I have always admired test match salespeople rather than T20 salespeople. I have always had this great respect for, observing, because that is how I was brought up in sales. We were taught sales the test match way, slow and steady habits, doing daily activity, building those relationships, being persistent about it, all those things that go into making a good professional salesman. I am also an author of a book on sales, which is called He Sold It, I Did Not Buy It, 21 Commandments of Effective Selling. So that same super boss, Rajender Sood, who was the zone agency head at that time, he is the one who agreed to give me a foreword for that book. So it's a very, so it's out of print, but if there are bulk orders, we can print and give it to people. But it's one of the more remarkable achievements in my life that without any sales, without having started my career in sales, I ended up authoring a book on sales. And it is very practical book. It's a very practical book. It talks about 21 essential elements. So I'll try and cover some of them here. I'm essentially going to talk to you about 10 or 11 points very quickly. And then we will get on to answering, if you have any queries around that. Yeah. So are we good to go? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Now, sales as an activity is somewhere at the midpoint of your whole journey. Sales is not at the beginning. Then what is in the beginning? I know that there are some corporate employees out here. There are some freelance trainers, entrepreneurs with us. So I'll try and mix up those examples so that I'll try and make it as relevant to your context as much as possible. Yeah. Okay. And of course, we have some very seasoned salespeople already with us. That is also there, right? So sales, as I said, is at the midpoint. I am very fascinated by the idea of selling. I have a dream of starting a sales academy. And I don't know when and how that will happen. But yes, that dream is still there. One of the most exciting things about my life is all the unfulfilled dreams. Because there are so many unfulfilled dreams. I get up feeling excited in the morning. Chalo, iska bhi kuch karna hai aaj. Right? So Sales Academy is one of those unfulfilled dreams. So why Sales Academy? Because what I realized and I observed, especially in the insurance industry, from where I derived a lot of inspiration, is that ordinary people who don't have big educational degrees, say, and when you talk in India about educational degrees, you typically talk about the cream education of IIT or the IIMs or some of the top management institutes or some of the top engineering colleges or some of the top medical colleges. So what would that be? Say 10% maybe, who are actually able to get there and get themselves qualified from those top institutions. And they are the ones who are able to make some robust career, make a robust career and make a lot of money down the line. What is the hope for an ordinary person who's just a BA, BSc, BCom kind of a normal graduate? What does he do with his life? What kind of a job will he get? Get 15,000 salary, 20,000 salary maybe. Okay. And then what is the career progression? How much? Everybody does not have the orientation or the intelligence to be highly educated. So what is the hope for them? The hope, if they want to become rich, if they want to make a name for themselves, if they want to make a substantial contribution to society, that hope lies in the selling skill. And what I realized when I continue to see this amazing transformation happening in the insurance industry and in some of these sales-driven industries, ordinary people are becoming not only rich, they are also becoming celebrities in their own right. They are also contributing in a big way. They're becoming big people in their own right. And they have humble economic backgrounds, and they also have humble educational backgrounds. So I saw Mr. Rajender Sood himself, who's like, I think who's just a normal BCom honors kind of a degree, came out of college and started working for Eureka Forbes as a salesperson. And he rose to become the CEO of a company. That's fantastic. I think it's one of the most amazing examples of how an ordinary person, because of the power of sales and his passion to sell and to make a difference, and the hard work that he put in, just incredible amount of hard work I have seen him put in, and it continues to put in. So he is now a CEO, and even before this, he was a CEO of a training company. Then he moved on and he's joined another company as a CEO. So that's a fantastic role model in terms of what the power of sales can do for you. And there are scores of such examples in the insurance industry, maybe in the MLM industry, in other parts of the world, in other areas of life. This is the power of selling. Then what is the challenge? Challenge are manifold, fundamentally for the reason that for some people, sales is a fairly, sales is what you call natural, something natural for them. But for most people like us, for example, I am a very good example of this. For most people, sales is an acquired skill. It is not a natural skill. No, just a second. Let me plug in my laptop. Sorry, thanks. So sales is an acquired skill for most people. It is not a natural skill. Even for those for whom it comes naturally, if they don't undergo the right kind of process training or the right kind of mentoring, they end up becoming jugadu salespeople rather than the really good salespeople that we come to respect. So the bad news is only few people have a natural affinity for selling. I won't even call it talent. I'll call it affinity. But the good news is the skill can be acquired by anybody. The reason being, fundamentally, we are all salespeople. You apply for a job, and we mastered, Jasmeet might get quite happy listening to this example, I think. So, और even Amitabh sir को हम अपने college के जमाने में ले चलते हैं आपको. So we mastered our selling skills in college in a very funny way. Yeah, you understand what I'm referring to. Okay, and you apply for a job, you're selling yourself, you are a freelance trainer, you're selling yourself, you are a parent, you are telling your child, homework kar le beta, sham ko garden leke jaungi. And homemakers they are ultimate in sales, they're ultimate in negotiation, they are the ultimate in managing money, everything. They are the best example of putting resourcefulness above resources. They have very limited resources, but they know how to maximize it. So let's understand that somewhere we are all salespeople, right, since from the time we are born. And if you look at the arranged marriage process in India, it is the finest example of a sales system. It is the finest example of a sales system. Jasmeet is smiling because he's still figuring out, acha, aisa bhi shadi hota hai kya? Haan, hota hai, sir. Arranged marriages hote hain. Okay. So it's a very good example of a sales system because
no returns
prospecting hota hai.
No returns, no refund.
Yeah, no returns, no refund. Okay. There is prospecting in arranged marriage. There is a referral model there. People refer, they inquire, they ask. वो जो HR क्रेडिबिलिटी चेक करता है वो अरेंज मैरिज में भी होता है. Yeah, there is character analysis, behavioral analysis, and it's basically prospecting.
Yeah.
You go to a marriage function and you tell people I have a son or daughter of marriageable age. If you know somebody, ऐसा 5 शादी में गया तो ऐसा 10-15 prospects पैदा हो जाते हैं. You go and register in a marriage bureau. That is again a prospecting process. Then you call up people and ask. It's again it's a referral model. So that's the most beautiful and amazing sales system. And research shows, Jasmeet, सुन रहे हैं ना? Research shows arranged marriages have much better longevity than love marriages.
अरे वाह, क्या बात.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that if you are in love with somebody and you are not yet married, don't. I also had a love marriage.
हरी, एक बात कहूँ.
God is great. Yeah.
All marriages are arranged by parents or arranged by yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So right. So what I'm trying to essentially say here is, what I'm going to be talking about is the fundamentals of selling. Whether you do it the traditional way or you do the digital way, the fundamentals don't change. And that is what I'm going to be speaking to you about. So as I said, sales comes at the midpoint. Then what is the starting point? The starting point is purpose. What is the purpose of your life? Or the purpose of your role? Some people might say, I'm in a job. What is the purpose of my life? Don't ask me such difficult questions. You know, don't tempt me to leave my job. But either you need to have a purpose or you need to work with a sense of purpose. If you don't have a clearly defined personal purpose, that's fine. I understand. It's a very complex question for a lot of people. When I asked somebody, that person asked me back, what does that mean? I don't know how to answer that, because that question was very natural to me, but I realized it's not so natural to a lot of people. So okay, मतलब क्या होता है? क्या होता है purpose? So you know, so either you need to have a purpose or you need to work with a sense of purpose. Now, purpose is also loosely referred to as the mission of your business. And I'm here treating everybody as entrepreneurs. Because if you are in sales, you are an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter whether you are selling your own product or you are selling for another company for whom you are working. Every salesperson is fundamentally an entrepreneur. Okay. So what is the purpose of my entrepreneurial journey there? The purpose, and loosely referred to also as a mission. What is a mission? Though there is a difference between purpose, vision, mission and all that, but for keeping our discussions simple, we will say purpose equal to mission, mission equal to purpose. No problem. So what is the mission? So what is the mission of HSSC? Mission of HSSC is to enable ordinary people to become extraordinary through the power of fun-based learning. To enable ordinary people to become extraordinary through the power of fun-based learning. So products and all come much later. First is the mission. Why are you in this business? Start with why, as Simon Sinek says. So why are you in this business? The mission of Google is to organize all the world's content into one place, which is what they have achieved. And ChatGPT is now taking it to another level. It is to organize the world's content in one place. The mission of Starbucks is to build a community of conversationalists who will gather together over a cup of coffee. What is our mission? To build a community of conversationalists who will come together and have conversations over a cup of coffee. Because a Starbucks, it's not just people coming into the stores for having coffee. It's actually a community feeling. So we say, na, Amitabh, kahan milna hai? Starbucks mein milte hai. It's like, it's part of our consciousness now. So every business which is thriving, okay, there are some businesses which have had great missions, but they have not been so successful. Nano had a great mission to provide safe travel for people who fundamentally use two-wheelers by giving them an affordable car, because car is safer. Okay, that model did not really sustain itself, but the mission is great. There are various reasons why a mission may succeed or fail, why a business may succeed or fail, but it doesn't take away the quality of the mission. So you see all these great business models that have emerged. What is the mission of Apple? Very interesting mission they have. The mission of Apple is to alter the status quo. It is to always challenge what is existing and come up with something highly innovative and something which was never in existence before. So whether Apple gets into coffee, or they get into making chemicals, or they do some completely non-technology in their life, their mission will remain the same, which is to challenge the status quo. So they challenge the dominance of Nokia, and they altered the way we consume technology. So all these businesses have great missions. So what is the mission of your business? So that's the starting point. So in insurance, as we say, it's always the mission before the commission. The purpose is not to sell a ULIP or an endowment or a term. The purpose is to protect families. And you give them what is the best product that you can pitch for them. So as an employee of a company, do I share that mission, or I just go and work there because I need a salary to support my family? Most people are in the second category, which is why companies struggle with employee engagement, because the employees don't have a sense of purpose, which is not driven by their managers itself. The managers are the problem, right? So that's point number one. Second is, so where will this purpose come from? It has to emerge from something, right? So where will this purpose emerge from? This purpose will emerge from what is the problem that your business is solving. In life insurance, we say it is penetration. It is solving the problem of penetration. More people need security. If Mohan sir is a Bhagavad Gita exponent, there are so many like you and so little like you also. Yeah. So it's very funny actually. We think there are so many trainers, but there are also not so many trainers. No? So both are true. So we see a lot of trainers because we are in that community. But actually there are very few. So insurance, today we have 20-25 companies in life insurance, but the penetration is still less than 10%. That means another 200 companies can come up, theoretically. Yeah. So Sushil Sabharwal sir is a financial planner. So what is the extent of financial planning people do in this country? Only 5% people are paying taxes. So just imagine what is the amount of financial planning that is anyway happening in Indian homes. So what problem are you solving? And you have to define all that. Okay, it is not just I go home now and I write down my problem statement and I'm ready. No, you have to think through. What problem are you solving? More importantly, are you capable of solving that problem? I will also decide to tomorrow, suppose I am very excited about media, so I will also start an OTT channel. Okay, you are going to solve a problem, but are you capable of solving that problem? You have the bandwidth, you have the money, you have the muscle to do all that. So I have to be realistic about the problem that I'm solving. At the same time, I have to be aspirational. So that's the balance. So first is purpose. Second is the problem that I'm solving. Now, once I know the problem that I am solving, I now come to the, absolutely right, sir, I come to the product. Now the product comes into the picture. Many people, they straight away create some product and they think I have to start selling it now. It doesn't work like that. It has to start with mission. It has to define the problem that it is. Either you solve a problem or you provide an enhanced experience. Okay. So you go to Imagica near Mumbai. It's a mini Disneyland. Okay. So does it mean there are not other kinds of such places in and around Mumbai? But Imagica has a certain brand name because it provides you with an enhanced experience. It may not be solving a problem kind of a problem, but it may be adding to the experience that you are looking at. You know, very interesting, in the past few weeks or so, we as a family, you know, cousins and all, we have been going to the mall to play bowling. You know bowling? Not the KK Saab, not the cricket wala gully cricket bowling. बहुत बारी बारी बॉल होता है
ये रिप एंड विंकल बॉलिंग.
हाँ
रिप एंड विंकल के बच्चे लोग खेलते थे ना वो वाला.
अब हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है ट्रेनर लोग के साथ, वो चुपचाप खेलेगा नहीं. हाँ, वो उसमें भी एनालाइज करेगा, इसमें से मेरे को क्या सीखने को मिला, मैं क्या सिखा सकता हूँ. ये अनकॉन्शियसली ये चलता रहता है अनफॉर्चुनेटली. चुपचाप खेलना बस. You know, why you want to be a trainer everywhere? But I learned a few very interesting lessons there also. It is about practice. So first time we went, we all did okay. Yesterday we did a better job. All of us did a better job. Somebody won, somebody lost, somebody had lower scores, somebody had higher scores. Yeah, trainers cannot keep their mouth shut. So you're not asking me to shut up now, no, sir?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I learned that with practice, you get better at bowling. Similarly with sales. The more you practice selling, you'll get better at it. And मैंने देखा 4 लेन होते हैं, हर एक लेन का डायनामिक अलग है.
Great.
कहीं पे ऑफ स्पिन डालने से सब पिन्स गिर जाते हैं, कहीं पे लेग स्पिन डालना पड़ता है, कहीं पे धीरे डालना पड़ता है, कहीं पे फास्ट डालना पड़ता है. So sales is also about adaptability. You see, sales lessons from bowling or management lessons from bowling. So bowling it's a product. People are crazy about that product. It takes 2 hours waiting. When you do a booking, you have to wait for 2-3 hours sometimes on weekends before you get your slot. So it's a great product. It's a great business model. So what problem is it solving? It is, I don't know what their objective is, but I feel a person like me who can't be a professional sales sports person, somewhere it gives me a professional environment to go and display my talents and express myself, more important. And it's entertainment. And it is some sporting, enjoyment that we get out of. So what is the problem it is solving? So that product has to solve that problem. Yeah. So we created the Entertrainer certification, which is basically to train trainers on how to make your sessions more engaging and more fun. So what is the problem it is solving? Many companies told us that sessions are so boring. People go to sleep. They don't have, their attention span is not more than 40 minutes. So all this we keep hearing all the time. And somebody tells me, आपके सेशन के बीच में कुछ और एक सेशन लाए थोड़ा डिस्ट्रैक्शन के लिए, एनर्जी के लिए. एंड आई लुक एट देम, आई सेड हेलो, माय नेम इज एंटरट्रेनर. So I have modeled myself on ensuring every minute is engaging and every interaction and every session is great fun with great learnings. Right? So purpose, problem, now the product. So, Mohan sir, when you say I'm a Bhagavad Gita exponent, you need to give it a product feel. Okay? Because there are many Bhagavad Gita exponents and typically, I'm just taking you as an example, just for
Sure.
everybody's benefit.
बीच में एक मौका दे दो, हम कुछ सिनेमा डायलॉग बोल देंगे.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल sir. So I've created a program, sir, called Humming and Learning, management lessons from music. Like you said, management lessons from dialogues. So,
Yeah.
so see, you can learn from anywhere and through anything. So Bhagavad Gita, is it, so you have to define when you take it to corporate. See, if you're doing just for engaging people and whatever you're doing right now is fine. No, as a webinar, people come, they learn and they go. But if suppose you want to take it to the corporate world, or you want to make it a best-selling product or something which is more accepted in the market, you have to give it a twist. Bhagavad Gita for happiness, Bhagavad Gita for peace, Bhagavad Gita for leadership. You have to define what works for you and what you feel passionate about. You know, you may say Bhagavad Gita for leadership does not excite me a lot, but Bhagavad Gita for children excites me a lot. So then you decide what works for you, where your competencies can be deployed to its maximum potential. And I am a great believer, never do something just because it is very accepted or popular in the market. Do what you are wired for doing. Discover what you are wired for. That is more important. Then once you have the product, you define the target segment. Right? Yeah, Gita for aspiring trainers can be a very good program, a TTT for trainers who can use the Bhagavad Gita in their sessions. You know, and you certify them. You know, it could be a thought. Great. Okay. So now once I define the target segment, now I come to the pricing. So this is all the pre-work for selling. I need a mission. I need a problem to solve. I need a product, or I need something to enhance the experience. I need a product. I need a pricing. And now, even now the sales has not started. हद हो गई, आधा घंटा से तुम बक किया जा रहा है साला, बता ही नहीं रहा है सेल्स कैसे करने का. अभी आ रहा हूं, अभी पहुंचेंगे हम. इंटरवल का टाइम अभी आ रहा है. हिंदी पिक्चर है. स्टोरी ऑलवेज स्टार्ट्स आफ्टर द इंटरवल.
दो इंटरवल तो नहीं है.
हाँ, हॉलीवुड जैसा नहीं है, पहला सीन से ही स्टोरी स्टार्ट हो जाता है. कितना बोरिंग है. थोड़ा झाड़ बाड़ घूमो, गाना वाना गाओ, थोड़ा हमको सेटल होने दो, पॉपकॉर्न खाने दो. क्या है ये, मतलब पहला मिनट से कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना पड़ता. So the Indian life is different, Indian way of life. Now, I have a purpose, I know the problem, I have the product, I have defined the pricing, the target segment, everything is done. But how passionate am I about it? Am I passionate about it? So we created this keys assessment. What problem does it solve? There are no assessments, or if there are, I'm not aware of them, or not many are there, which are purely based on Indian ethos, which can cater to the Indian way of life. You know, so how passionate am I about talking about it, promoting it, selling it? So if you want to be a successful salesperson, it's not how intelligent you are, or how jugadu you are, how street smart you are. What matters is how passionate you are. Do you feel the passion to go and sell? And you will do it irrespective of anybody buys it or not. You will do it because you just love doing it. You love talking about your product. I love talking about Bhagavad Gita. So talk about it. That's it. No worries. Control the controllable. The closing is not in my control. The result is not in my control. My passion and the system that I follow are in my control. So finally, Jasmeet, take a deep breath. We now come to the sales process. पहुंच गए. फाइनली हम पहुंच गए. इतना सब धर्मेंद्र हेमा मालिनी को घुमाया, गाना वाना गाया, अब आ गए स्टोरी पे. अब धर्मेंद्र को पता चला हेमा मालिनी का तो पहले भी प्यार था, ये कौन था? ओके, तो ये कहां से, ये गड़बड़ हो गई अब. So now we come to the process. Now what is the sales process? So what do you need to sell? What do you need to sell? You have the product, you have the pricing. Now what do you need?
Benefit to you.
Yeah, so benefit to me. So what do I need?
हमें नैरेटिव करना है कि भाई आपको हमारे गीता सुनने से आपको क्या फायदा है.
हाँ, तो किसको
Sales pitch.
किसको किसको?
Because the public who I
Public,
want,
right?
the target audience.
Audience or my target segment.
Yeah.
And
I have to tell you what will you get out of listening?
right, so that we call as qualified leads.
Okay.
What do we call that? So now we are going to learn the sales language. So what do we call that? We call that as the qualified leads. Now leads are different and qualified leads are different. So again, to take Mohan sir's example, you'll say, okay, I have decided I want to train trainers. Now so I'm going to look for leads of people who are soft skill behavioral trainers. It is still not a qualified lead. I have to narrow it down to say, I am looking at those people who are interested in acquiring some kind of spiritual knowledge. And they have a fundamental interest in learning through the scriptures. Could be any religion. So for your information, sir, Amitabh sir is also a great fan of the Bhagavad Gita. He also attends sessions on the Bhagavad Gita. So now that is a qualified lead for him. Whether he will now attend your course or not, I don't know, but he is a qualified lead. So I have to identify those qualified leads. Once I have those leads, okay, now see how the fundamentals don't change. Now they say digital marketing is a faster way to get business, make money, accepted. Fundamentals are still the same. What does digital marketing do? It gives you leads of people outside your circle, of strangers whom you cannot reach out to everyone through WhatsApp, social media, whatever, because it's limited to your circle. But there also, once you get the lead, what you have to do? Is it an automatic conversion? You have to call and you have to talk about your offering. Now, when you talk about your offering, they will raise questions, queries, which in the sales language we call as objection handling. So somebody might tell Mohan sir, yes, I'm interested in learning through the Bhagavad Gita, but why should I come to you? I can learn it through YouTube. It's an objection. So do I have an answer to that? So I need to prepare a list of FAQs. What is called as frequently asked questions. This is in sales language called as objection handling. How is your keys assessment different from other psychometric assessments? It's a common question that we face every day. Do I have an answer for that? Yes, we have prepared that answer. So can you convince everybody through your answer? No, but at least you have an answer. So there is a process called as objection handling. Acknowledge, clarify, and close the objection. I'll not get into that because that's a separate sales training altogether. Then I understand what is the need of that person. Qualified leads, calling that person, fixing up an appointment. Why am I calling? Because I want to have an appointment. Now these days, appointment can be over Zoom also. Or I can invite them for a webinar. If there are a lot of people and I cannot engage one-to-one with people, I call them for a webinar and there I share the information in more detail. And there I try to solve their problems by answering their queries about my product. So I offer them a solution. Then I push for closing. When I say push for closing, It doesn't mean I get on their nerves. It simply means now I have to show, see, ultimately, how will my product make an impact? Only if people buy it, isn't it? So actually, sales is not about selling. Sales is about others buying. When they buy, you have sold. If they don't buy, you have not sold. It's as simple as that. It's not actually a sales process. It is actually a buying process. We call it a sales process. It's not a sales process. It is actually a buying process. Now, I want more people to buy my product, isn't it? Now, the ratio is, if you talk to 5 people about your product, only 1 will buy. It's 5:1. So what is in my control? So Amitabh sir asked about closing. So let me now try and answer some of those questions that came up at the start of the session. When does a product close? When do you close? Close means somebody has bought it and given you money. Closing happens. Closing is a function of activity. Now, what do I mean by activity? Closing is a function of how many people you reach out to and communicate about your offering, and how many people you try to convince. So in Hindi, I call it miloge to milega. To sell more, meet more. It's a very simple equation. If I talk to 5 people, 1 person is likely to buy. To be able to talk to 5 people, I need to reach out to 25 people. If I reach out to 25 people through my social media or through WhatsApp or through calling or whatever mechanism, 5 people will want to listen to what I want to say. After I explain all the things to the 5 people, 1 person will buy. Simple equation in life. But equation is simple, the effort is not. So I get disappointed the moment 1 person says, I'm not interested in buying keys from you. Thank you very much. You get lost. So one great salesperson whom I heard many years ago, he said, if somebody says yes, you go to next. If somebody says no, you go to next. If somebody says no, you go to, naturally, no, you have to go to next. But he says it's the same for yes also. If somebody says yes, that's not the end of the story for you, no? You have to keep selling. So you go to next. So where salespeople fail, it's not because of their talent. It is not because of their lack of intelligence or their lack of product knowledge. They fail either because they're trying to do something they're not supposed to do, or fundamentally, they don't talk to enough people. They don't reach out to enough people. They do not do enough sales activity. Now, in the earlier days, in pre-social media, sales activity essentially meant calling people based on your natural market or your referrals that you get from people and reaching out to them. But today, sales activity can also be a meaningful post on LinkedIn. Sales activity can be a meaningful post on Facebook. It can be a meaningful post on WhatsApp. It can be engagement through WhatsApp. It can be engagement through a webinar. कुछ ना कुछ चलते रहना चाहिए. I know it's so boring to every day call 10 people, but I can use creative ways. So for one life insurance company, I had done a session on how to sell digitally, not digital marketing. how to make your presence felt on the social media, and how to position your product on the social media, and how to position yourself on the social media. Are we good so far? Is it making some sense? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, sir, making sense.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So what is in my control? What is in my control? Is closing in my control? Is result in my control? When KK was in college, I don't know how many girls he proposed to, but what was in your control? Or how many proposed to him? I think the other way would have worked more with him.
Sir, दोनों नहीं हुआ.
So what's in your control?
Proposal करना is in my control.
It's in my control. उसका परिणाम मेरे कंट्रोल में नहीं है. कुछ भी हो सकता है. हाँ भी हो सकता है, जूते भी हो सकते हैं, कुछ भी हो सकता है.
लेकिन वो भी नहीं किया मैंने. So that is a different story.
So, but the point I'm trying to make here is, I can say, Mr. Prospect, I love you and I love my product and I want you to buy. Whether he will now buy it or not buy it is a choice that he has. He may either say yes, or he will say no, or he will say I will consider it later. तीन ही option है. Either he will say yes, or he will say no, or he will say I'll consider it later. With certain sales people, some people say नीचे मिला है ऊपर नहीं मिलना, फिर से मिलना मत भाई. वो थोड़ा extreme हो जाता है. But it generally does not happen. Right? So process, sales is a very process driven system. It is not a talent driven system. It is a very process driven system. You have to have qualified leads. You should take appointments. You should meet people. You should engage with them one-to-one or in a group. And you should explain to them your product offering. You should try to solve their problem. You should, so let me go back to keys. I'm giving my product example because we work in that particular manner. It's easier for me to give you that example. So keys will serve an individual a particular purpose, an organization another purpose. Right? So we should know how my product fits into what kind of mechanisms. And accordingly, I should do activity. Accordingly, I should do my activity. So for individual sales, a particular kind of activity, which is B2C as we call it. And for B2B, a particular kind of activity. My engagement with HR, my engagement with CEOs, my engagement with training heads. Here, my engagement with individuals from my network or individual professionals. Right? So control the controllable. If you remember, forget everything that I said today, but you go back with this CTC in your mind. Jyoti, that is not cost to company. CTC means control the controllable. So in my sales activity, what is in my control? My activity is in my control. Somebody said, no, I have two choices. I can take it to heart. One girl rejected me. So I decide मैं जिंदगी में कभी शादी नहीं करूंगा और मैं दुखी रहूंगा. Or I go to next and eventually figure out how I want to settle down in my life. Similarly, somebody says, no, I'm not interested in your keys, not interested in your entertainer. So you can have variations also like we have. अच्छा, हमारे पास बहुत options है. अच्छा, LCC join करोगे? अच्छा, नहीं करोगे. Keys करोगे? नहीं करोगे. Entertainer करोगे? नहीं करोगे. अच्छा, free में webinar में आओगे? हाँ, आऊंगा. Thank you. That is also a sale for me. Free में webinar में भी नहीं आएगा तो with that person is gone. I have nothing else to offer. So, but can I talk to you later? Whenever you might be interested, please feel to call. A relationship. So never spoil a relationship. Somebody might consider it at a later date. Or somebody might say it is not relevant for me, but I'll refer it to somebody. That person may be interested. So more than the closing part, When we were in Max New York Lab, we were taught this statement: never leave an appointment without another appointment. What does it mean? So I met KK. I explained to him keys. I said, sir, I don't know whether you or may not be interested, but can you refer me 3 more HR heads like you who might be interested in this? I would like to meet them. My objective is not to sell. My objective is only to share. So Mohan sir, in my sessions, I use a concept called मेरे पास माँ है. उसका क्या मतलब है? Dialogues, script. I certainly understand that Bhagavad Gita can be learned from the YouTube also. However, so I acknowledge the objection. However, I am a master exponent of this and I'm practicing this for the last 30-40 years of my life. And you will have the benefit of engaging with me one-to-one and give and attain some personal solutions if required. So it will be more personalized learning for you. Is there any, so have I made myself clear? Is there anything else you'd like to ask? So acknowledge the objection. So I never criticize YouTube. I don't say what you're talking. Then watch only YouTube, na, get lost. I can't talk like that to a prospect.
I say मेरे पास भी YouTube channel है.
मेरे पास भी YouTube channel. मेरा YouTube channel. Okay. So I have to, so what I need to do? I need to construct what I need to do. I need to construct what is called as dialogues, scripts. What I need is a script, right? So Ajay sir, I'm just making you co-host for safety. By chance I get locked out. Okay, so that I can come back. So, okay, right? So Ajay sir, is it all making sense, sir? You are a veteran salesperson. So, तो कहां पर थे हम लोग? प्रोसेस, कंट्रोल द कंट्रोलेबल. तो मेरे कंट्रोल में क्या है? मेरे कंट्रोल में है ज्यादा से ज्यादा लीड लाना, क्वालिफाइड लीड्स लाना, ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों से बात करना, ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों के साथ एक्टिविटी करना, LinkedIn पे, Facebook पे, WhatsApp पे, webinar, Facebook ad, whatever you want to do, but have activity happening all the time. You should always be seen, visible. Somebody who is there in that, you know, चेतेश्वर पुजारा रन कुछ नहीं बनाता है, आउट भी नहीं होता है, टिका रहता है उधर, है ना? वो 3 घंटे के बाद, अबे ये अभी तक है, हाँ है, गया नहीं हो. So the more you hang in there, the better your prospects of closing will become. So closing has got less to do with technique and more to do with activity. तो हम जब sales review करते हैं as a manager, if I'm a sales manager and I have to review, I will never look at the numbers. I will always look at the activity first. That is what a good manager will do. Bad manager will say, कुछ भी कर धंधा ला, मेरे को नहीं मालूम. तो क्या करता है? कुछ भी करता है, धंधा लाता है, और तुम्हारे बैंड बजती है बाद में, और कंपनी की बैंड बजती है. So always look at your own self. Am I doing enough activity for my keys? Am I doing enough activity for my LCC? Am I doing enough activity for my Bhagavad Gita attendance? Am I doing enough activity for my financial planning prospects? What am I doing to get more prospects, to sell my mutual funds? Am I doing Jasmeet? Am I doing enough activity to get more freelance assignments? So what you have to ask? Am I doing enough activity? If yes, then you are on the right track. भगवान जब हाथ ऊपर करेगा, रिजल्ट आएगा. Have faith. If the activity is low, then ask yourself why. Is it because of will issue or is it because of a skill issue? दो ही चीज होता है लाइफ. It's either because of you don't have the will to do it. You get tired calling people. कौन इतना करे, मेरे से नहीं होता. So नहीं होता है ना, तो एक्सेप्ट कर लो कि नहीं होता है, एंड बी वेयर यू आर, दैट्स ओके. But then don't start blaming the world that they are not buying my product. You are not doing enough activity. क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? तुमसे नहीं होता है, नहीं होता है तो नहीं होता है, कोई, then be happy with whatever you get. But if you are hungry, then you cannot be happy with whatever you get. Yeah, be alive to realities. So engagement, relationship. एक गुरु मंत्र मैं देता हूं आपको. In any sales call that you go to, any sales call or any engagement that you have with anybody, either of the four or all the four will happen. So no sales call is ever a waste. It's also, I've shot this as a YouTube video also. No sales call will ever go as a waste. Why? Because on every sales call, you will either learn something, or you will get a sale, or you will get a referral, or you will build a relationship. Either you will learn something, or you will get a sale. If you don't get a sale, maybe you don't get a referral also. Maybe you don't build a good relationship also. But it is impossible that you will not learn anything. So always approach people without expectation of closing. Always approach people for the passion of communicating what you have. People buy you, they never buy your product. तो ये बंदा इतना कीस के बारे में बोलता, कुछ तो होगा प्रोडक्ट में, मतलब ये ऐसा बात कर रहा है, पागल है, एक बार चेक तो करे. क्यूरियोसिटी लाओ. Product never sells because you sell. I sell. We are the product. So people buy you first, then the product, then the company. Because they always look at what is relevant for them. Right? Execution. Whatever you planned, you have to execute. Result orientation. Now you might think this is a contradiction. You said result पे ध्यान नहीं देने का, activity पे ध्यान देने. But result orientation रहेगा तभी आप activity करोगे. Now what is the difference between attachment to result and result orientation? Attachment to result is, I have to get this result. If I don't get this result, मैं दुनिया को दिखा दूंगा. So you are expressing disappointment, or you are getting carried away, and you are becoming very happy when it happens, or you are getting very disappointed when it does not happen. Result orientation is, whatever I am doing, I have the result as an objective always. I know everybody will not buy from me, but that hunger will never die down. Look at Virat Kohli. He's got that hunger. He doesn't score runs all the time, but he has the hunger. And that hunger is result orientation. So ambition is result orientation. But ambition should not be where you cross the line and you start doing anything to get business. Aspiration is result orientation. So there are two kinds of people. Very high on process, very low on result orientation. Or very high on result orientation, but very poor on process. Both are necessary. You have to be high on process, high on result orientation. If you are only high on process and no result orientation, then you know, I mean, you are not creating any impact. You are only having high result orientation and जुगाड़ करके कुछ भी लेके आते हो, it is not sustainable and it will get you eventually into some kind of trouble. So high on process and high on result orientation. The last point before we now get into interaction. Ultimately, you may be great in process, or you may be average in process. You may be great in getting results, or you may be average in getting results. You may have great product knowledge or average product knowledge. But if you have this one quality and you are able to develop that somehow, you will sail through in life. And that is persistence. That is tenacity. That is resilience. Most salespeople fail not because they cannot sell, but because they cannot accept rejection. ना कैसे बोला? ना कैसे बोला मतलब उसको जरूरत नहीं था, ना बोला यार. Yes, it hurts. Natural human emotion. Arey, I made so much effort and this person did not buy from me. It hurts. But he has not rejected you. He has rejected the offering. It is not making any sense to him. It is not relevant for him at this point of time. Or he doesn't see a value today. So ultimately, you should be convinced about the value your product provides. But it is not necessary everybody will be able to see that value that you are trying to give today. And why should everybody buy your product here? Do we buy every product? Don't we reject? Don't we say no? We say no far more often than we say yes. Yes or no? So, Kapil Dev, I'll end with this, then we'll take questions. Kapil Dev bowled 27,000 deliveries in Test cricket in 15 years to pick up 434 wickets and became the #1 bowler, Test bowler in the world. How many deliveries he bowled? 27,000. Which means he was rejected 26,600 times. 26,600 times he failed to get a wicket. But by getting only 434 wickets, he became the #1 bowler in the world. So you don't become the #1 because of the number of yeses you get. You become #1 because of the large number of no's you get, and you still have not lost the enthusiasm to walk back to your run-up and come back and bowl the next delivery with the same enthusiasm. So sales is all about sustaining that enthusiasm. So to recap, purpose, problem or experience enhancement, product, pricing, passion, the process in which we discussed about control the controllable, meeting people, meet more to sell more, miloge to milega, engagement, how you engage with people, either through one-to-one relationship communication or through social media. Execution, you have to execute what you have planned. You have to be highly persistent and you should have high result orientation. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Hari, awesome session.
Excellent session, Hari. And we also spoke a little bit about how activity and closing correlate. Yeah, we spoke about qualified leads. We spoke about importance of taking referrals. Salespeople fail because they don't have leads, the names to call people. Mere paas maa hai, naam nahi hai. I have the dialogues, but I don't have the names.
Correct.
So I remember in Max New York Life, हमने एक session बनाया था referral के ऊपर, उसका नाम ही था मेरे पास नाम है. What are the various ways in which you can gather names? You know, what are the various ways? So it's very fascinating. But you have to be at it. Correct. And you know, sales agencies cannot sell for you. Because they will sell for money. You will sell for your conviction. Correct. And yes, if you have the money, you can employ people. And you can have sales people hired, but you have to still mentor them, no? You have to still guide them, you have to coach them. And how will you mentor and coach unless you yourself are an expert salesperson? Correct. So for me, expert salesperson is who does not give up and who follows the process and is hungry for the results. फाइनली किसको क्या रिजल्ट मिलता है वो हमारे हाथ में नहीं. Unfortunately, the world only celebrates results. It does not celebrate efforts. But that's okay. So you celebrate for yourself. Right. So we still have 10-15 minutes. Extendable,
So-
not a problem. If you have any questions.
Two dialogues
sir.
are very, very relevant in sales.
Yes, sir.
वो दीवार फिल्म के दो डायलॉग्स हैं.
Sorry.
दीवार फिल्म में दो डायलॉग है
हाँ,
which are
हाँ.
very relevant for sales.
Okay.
He says, पहले ये बताओ मैं भाई से बात कर रहा हूँ या